The following year, Keats published Endymion, a mammoth 4,000 line poem. Now we come to the explanation, and the explanation is about what Keats did in his early years, and as a poet, specifically, how did he begin? Now, this is the explanation. Here, we come to know that in 1817, Keats leveraged his new friendship to publish his first volume. So this is what how the literary career we are going to speak about the literary career of Keats. So now Keats had written the poem in the summer and fall of 1817. That is the Endymion. He published Endymion, which is a mammoth task, uh, and the poem is 4,000 line poem based on the Greek myth of the same name. So, Endymion is a poem which is of 4,000 line. He had written the poem in the summer and fall of 1817, committing himself to at least 40 lines a day. He completed the work in November of that year, and it was published in April 1818. Keats's daring and bold style earned him nothing but criticism from two of England's more revered publications, Blackwood's Magazine and the Quarterly Review. The attacks were an extension of heavy criticism lobbed at Hunt and his cadre of young poets. The most damning of those pieces had come from Blackwood's, whose piece on the Cockney school of poetry shook Keats and made him nervous to publish Endymion. Keats's hesitation was warranted. Upon its publication, the lengthy poem received a lashing from the more conventional poetry community. One critic called the word the imperturbable driving idiocy of Endymion. Others found the four-book structure and its general flow hard to follow and confusing. So, Endymion had to face a lot of criticism. Now, he, as we know, as we have learned in our previous video, that he was an apothecary, a licensed apothecary. He also assisted surgeons in the hospital. And besides writing poetry, as he has enrolled as a medical student, he also uh, uh, assisted the surgeons in the hospital. Now, Keats, in fact, had already moved beyond Endymion even before it was published. But by the end of 1817, he was re-examining poetry's role in society. In lengthy letters to friends, Keats outlined his vision of a kind of poetry that drew its beauty from real-world human experience rather than some mythical grandeur. Keats was also formulating the thinking behind his most famous doctrine, negative capability, which is the idea that humans are capable of transcending intellectual or social constraints and are far exceed, creatively or intellectually, that what human nature is thought to allow. And if we go on to see that as his friend Leigh Hunt published him for the first time in the magazine Examiner, his first printed poem was a sonnet, O Solitude. That is what we need to remember. Uh, in effect, however, to his idea of negative capability, where a person can detach himself or herself from the constraints of the society and the criticisms. In effect to that, Keats was responding to his critics and conventional thinking in general, which sought to squeeze the human experience into a closed system with tidy labels and rational relationships. Keats saw a world more chaotic, more creative than what others he felt would permit. And in this way, he continued to grow as a poet. And in the summer of 1818, Keats took a walking tour in northern England and Scotland. He returned home later that year to care for his brother Tom, who had fallen deeply ill with tuberculosis. Keats, who around this time fell in love with a woman named Fanny Brawny, continued to write. He had proven prolific for much of the past year. His work included his first Shakespearean sonnet, When I Have Fears That I May Cease to Be. This is the work which was published in January 1818. 2 months later, Keats published Isabella, a poem that tells the story of a woman who falls in love with a man. Beneath her social standing, instead of the man her family had chosen her to marry. The work was based on a story from Italian poet Giovanni Boccaccio, and it's one Keats himself would grow to dislike. His work also includes the beautiful Two Autumn, a sensuous work published in 1820 that describes ripening fruit, sleepy workers, and a maturing sun. The poem and others demonstrated a style Keats himself had crafted all his own, one that was filled with more sensualities than any contemporary romantic poetry. Keats's writing also revolved around a poem he called Hyperion, an ambitious romantic piece inspired by Greek myths that told the story of the Titans' despondency after their losses to the Olympians. But the death of Keats's brother halted his writing. He finally returned to the work in late 1819, rewriting his unfinished poem with a new title, The Fall of Hyperion, which would go unpublished until more than 3 decades after Keats's death. This, of course, speaks to the small audience of Keats's poetry during his lifetime. In all the poetry published, 3 volumes of poetry during his life.